Staki mbwembwana kwele mchele kwa kuku kumwaga. Zako na wapenda yatusema nitasikia.
Hello again, Unite Scholars. Stephen here. I wanted to greet you from a beautiful day where I'm living. Stunning weather, absolutely beautiful. I just wanted to remind you a little bit about what we did during the second lesson. We talked about humor. We talked about trying to open with a joke on yourself, to not make fun of other people in humor. That's generally not funny and gets you off on the wrong foot. Audiences really don't like that very much. So you want to stay away from that. And then we talked a bit about how you would do in a class where the entire group tries their best to make a very, very, very bad speech using physical distractions, things that get in the way between you telling a good story or presentation or piece of information that you're trying to get to an audience, the things that interrupt that. And we talked about many of those, including fill words and physical distractions, nervous tics, nervous movements, things like that. So I'm wondering how that went. I'm very curious, and I hope to be hearing about that down the road. Then I wanted to talk today a little bit about another exercise, and this one is I want everybody to work in groups of two, and if it's an uneven number, then one group will have 3 people in it. So I don't know how large your group is. Let's say it's 10 people or 12 people or 13 people. That would be 13 people would be 6 pairs. One of the pairs would have 3 people in it. So that's a way to look at that. Everyone gets a little piece of paper and asks questions of the other person, 5 things that they don't know about them, things that they would like to know more about that person. So you try to work with someone you know not as well as you know your best friend in the world, for example. And the questions become very interesting. So you want to make sure they're as interesting as possible, and they draw the person you're interviewing out of themselves a little. So yes, you can ask, what's your favorite color? Does that really tell you a whole lot about that person? Probably not. But if you ask, what's something you'd really like to do that you haven't done yet in your life? That's a pretty good question. And if somebody answers it carefully and honestly, you're going to have a really good little story there. So you want to ask good questions, 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you make note of them, either write them down on the paper or just remember them in your mind. And then you're going to fashion a story about this person you've interviewed using those 5 new facts. And this speech should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is the thing that gets us. It hooks us like a fish being caught in the water. And sometimes the way to do that is with humor, sometimes with surprise, sometimes with laughter. Then the middle is the meat of the story. This and then this. I found this out about her. I learned this about him. He said this is what he liked to want to do that he hasn't done yet. She has always been interested in sewing, and she finds that to be a relaxing thing to do and also practical. Whatever. 5 things. And then the ending, you have to say some way of letting the audience know that you're done. How do you do that? Do you just go, and so, yeah, no, that's not the end of a story. The formal way of ending a speech would be, thank you for your attention. Thank you. Sometimes it's just plain thank you. Sometimes it's been very nice being with you today. Some form of ending the talk, which allows the listeners and viewers to know you're done and know that this portion is over. Beginning, middle, and end. Really important. So those speeches and the interviews that go into them, interviews can last for 10 minutes, as long as it takes the group to do them, and then take turns. And then the other thing about this particular exercise is it's really good about constructive criticism. It's really good that you can say about each other, you've gotten to know each other pretty well through this program, I suspect. So now this is a chance for you to be constructive in your criticism. So you get to be helpful in a positive way. Not, I can't imagine what you were doing. That was so stupid. You should never have done that. No, we don't talk like that to each other, of course. But if you get through, I was thinking perhaps you might have tied this into that, and that might have gotten you to the end a little bit better. Just an idea that I had. Or I really liked this speech, and here's why. It did this, it did that. So specifics, you have to be very good listeners of each other. Part of this class is not only about learning how to speak well, it's also about learning how to listen well and how to then use that listening as a way to be positive in critiquing the other people in the class. So I hope that works for you, and I look forward to that. I'm going to do one more of these lessons, which will be number 4 in the coming days, and I'll send that off as well. So I look forward to seeing you maybe on video or in some other way, maybe some photos or however it comes back. I look forward to that. Bye.
Nanipaga moyo nikianza kulia chozi nafutia.